Okay, course 3, lesson 2, operations of arithmetic. You will be able to understand and use all 4 operations of arithmetic, use variables to represent unknown values, and use properties of numbers to solve problems. We skipped our problem solving question for today. We did our power up on our Google form. And then so looking here, what we see, the commutative property, when adding, you can add in any order. So here, 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 3 is 10, 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So we get 10 equals 10. So we change the order, but the outcome is not changed. So not only do we have that property, the commutative property in addition, it also applies to multiplication. Again, we can multiply in any order and get the same outcome. So on the left side we get 56, on the right side we also get 56. All right, so looking at the associative property, so this one is all about the grouping. So we can change the grouping, but it's not going to change the sum. So 5 plus 3, that's going to be 8 plus 2. And then here we get 5 all plus 3 plus 2 is 5. We can see we get 10 on each side. Not only does associative property apply to addition, also applies to multiplication. Again, we change the grouping. So looking at parentheses, order of operations, we see 5 times 3 is 15, all times 2. That's going to be equal to 5 all times. 3 times 2 is 6. So we're going to get 30 equal to 30. And again, with this associative property, we change the grouping, but the outcome remains the same. All right, so which property is this? So if you want to pause the video and try this on your own, I'd recommend it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so looking here, we can see we have 3 plus 3 and 3 plus 2. The grouping changed. So remember, when there's groups that are changing, that's going to be our associative property. Let me undo that writing and select the mouse. All right. So here, looking at the next one, we see 4 times 5 times 6, 6 times 4 times 5. The order has changed, commutative property. Here, this one might be a little bit tricky. What we see is that 8 plus 2, the grouping is remaining the same. So therefore, we're just flipping it. So it's 8 plus 2 plus 3. Now 3 plus 2 plus 8. So all we have done is we've just flipped the order. So whenever we change the order, commutative property. All right, if it's the only thing that we changed. Here, we get 2 times 4 times 3 and 2 times 4 times 3. So what we notice is 2 times 4, 4 times 3. We notice that the groupings have changed. So that's going to be our associative property. And then lastly, looking at this final one here, so we have 2 plus 3 plus 9 equals 3 plus 9 plus 2. So we can definitely say that there has been a change in grouping, right? 2 plus 3 versus 3 plus 9. So let's just apply the associative property to this left side. So it's going to be now 2 all plus 3 plus 9. What we notice is that's not exactly what we see here. Something else has happened. So what's actually happened is that both properties were applied. So if we continue drawing this out, what we see is we flip the order now. We get 3 plus 9, all plus 2, and we see that that's going to match exactly. All right, so identity property of multiplication. So when you think identity, you think of yourself. So any number times 1 is just going to remain itself. Another example, you can think of another example, 5 times 1 is 5. Identity property of addition. So notice, what number do we have to add to any number to keep it the same? That number is going to be 0. So any number plus 0 is going to be itself. 8 plus 0 is going to be itself. 4 plus 0 is going to be 4 itself. All right, 0 property multiplication. Again, think about just the name of it. 0 multiplying, so anything times 0 is going to be 0. 8 times 0 is 0. A million times 0 is 0. Our 0 property multiplication. All right, if you want to take a moment to try these on your own, I'd highly encourage it. But yeah, your job is to choose the correct property. We'll just go through a couple in a moment. So pause in 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to continue. So starting down here, 5 times 0 That's going to be our zero property of multiplication. So let me go ahead and undo that writing. So this is going to be our zero property of multiplication. So looking up here, we see that 3 times 1 is still itself. It retains its own identity. So therefore, it's going to be that identity property of multiplication. Here, let's look here. 10 plus 0 equals 10. Careful, there's a 0 in there, but remember, 10 is remaining itself. It retains its identity through addition, so it's actually the identity property of addition. All right, and then let's go ahead and look at something like this. 3 plus 5 versus 5 plus 3. All we're doing is we're flipping the order, so that's going to be the commutative property. And then we'll just do one more. Let's do this one here in the center. So we see we have 3 plus 5. Now we have 8 plus 3, but we still have the 8, 3, 5, 8, 3, 5 in the same order. We've changed the groupings, so therefore we know that would have to be the associative property. Yep, you can check online on your PDF for the answers to the rest of these. They should be on the notes. All right, operations of arithmetic. So we're just going over some terminology. So writing this down. So the sum, we're going to have an addend and an addend. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. The 2's are both addends. If we have 2 plus 3 equals 5, the 2 and the 3 are addends. All right, so next, looking at the difference. So here we're going to have the minuend. So let me click off to the side. All right, so we're going to have our minuend. All minus our subtrahend. It's one word, I just need to break it up. Equals our difference. 2 factors multiplied together to give us a product. And then our quotient, we have our dividend on top. And then our divisor below. Okay? And then here, you know, obviously if you're multiplying more than one number, more than 2 numbers, they're all going to be factors. All right, continuing. All right, so using different types of arithmetic, let's go ahead and solve this first question. So the quotient when the product of 3 and 6 is divided by the sum of 3 and 6. So the problem-solving process that I use is I go ahead and identify words that we saw on that last page. So we have quotient, so that should bring to mind division in my mind. All right, we have product, so I know that's going to involve multiplication. Then we have divided, that's obviously going to involve division. All right, so what is the quotient? So overall, we're trying to answer a division problem. So I'm going to put this on top, equals something. So we know we have a dividend, a divisor is going to equal our quotient. So when the product of 3 and 6 is divided by the sum of 3 and 6, so therefore we know that 3 times 6 should go on top, and then 3 plus 6 should go down below. So 3 times 6 is going to give us 18. All over 3 plus 6 is 9. So we're going to get a quotient of 2. Next problem. So in order to solve, which 2 would you group to make your life easier? So here, if we do 25 times 4, if we think about a quarter, 4 quarters is $1. 25 times 4 is going to be 100. And then we can do 100 all times 15 here, and that's going to go ahead and get us 1,500. That just makes the multiplication easier. Okay, let's go ahead and keep going. So solving equations is made easier when you know the parts of arithmetic. After a quick poll of the class, some people were familiar with this, some people had not seen anything like this. So we're going to wait on that for now. You had your practice set, and then if you want to go ahead and do your practice set, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to pause your video. So 3, 2, 1, okay? Yep, and so again, our lesson objective is here. Just wrapping up our operations of arithmetic for today. We had homework answers that we're just going to skip over, and then your homework was lesson 2 start problems and 6 through 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, along with all the start problems from lesson 2. Thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll see you.